Hello and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on something that feels like pure magic, but is actually a brilliant trick we see almost every single day: animation. You know, have you ever just sat back watching your favorite animated movie and wondered, how do they do that? How can a bunch of drawings or, pixels on a screen suddenly feel like they're living and breathing? Well, it all starts with a very simple question, and a little experiment is all we need to find the answer. Believe it or not, the secret that connects the most basic stick figure you could ever doodle to a dazzling, complex character like Elsa from Frozen, it's the exact same principle. And it's surprisingly old and honestly kind of beautiful in its simplicity. So, to crack this mystery, we don't need any high-tech gear or supercomputers. All we really need is to understand one clever, and I mean wonderfully simple idea. And this is it. This quote basically nails the entire secret: the idea that movement is just an illusion created by showing a series of still images one after another really, really fast. So let's see exactly how this works with a quick, hands-on experiment you could do right now. It really just boils down to these three simple actions. First, you draw something, anything. Then, on the next sheet of paper, you draw that same thing again, but with just a tiny, tiny change. Maybe you move its arm up just a little. And finally, you flip the pages. That's the recipe. It's how you create the illusion of life. And here's the payoff. This is the magic moment. When you flip those pages, your brain doesn't see a bunch of separate drawings. Nope. Your brain connects the dots for you. It smooths out those tiny changes and perceives it as one single fluid motion. And just like that, you've got a stick figure waving right back at you. Now here's what's so cool. That simple experiment, that's not just some fun little trick. It is the absolute bedrock, the foundation of the entire history of animation. This is literally where it all began. So that little experiment actually has a name you probably know: the flipbook. It was officially invented way back in 1868, which is wild to think about. A guy named John Barnes Linnet actually patented the idea, turning this simple optical illusion into a commercial product. It was basically the interactive tech of its day. And you can see on this timeline just how that one simple idea just snowballed. It starts as this little handheld toy in 1868, right? But that same principle is what allowed for the first hand-drawn movies in the early 1900s, and it's the same core idea that powers the incredibly complex computer animation we all know and love today. And when I say they scaled it up for the movies, I really mean it. To make those early animated films, artists had to hand-draw thousands, literally thousands, of slightly different pictures. Every single drawing was just one frame in the final movie. I mean, just think about that for a second. This wasn't just being a good artist. It was an absolutely incredible feat of patience, of precision, of pure dedication to bring a character to life one meticulous drawing at a time. Okay, so let's connect the dots here. We've seen the old way, the painstaking hand-drawn process. So how does that relate to the slick, super colorful animation we see today? And yeah, the technological leap has been huge. I mean, we've gone from paper and pencil to powerful processors and pixels. Computers have completely streamlined the process, making everything faster, more efficient, and allowing for a level of detail and color those early animators could only dream of. But, and this is probably the most important part of this whole story, despite all that incredible technology, the core idea, the fundamental principle, is exactly the same. It doesn't matter if it's a pencil on paper or a pixel on a screen. The goal is identical: show a bunch of pictures, one after another, really, really fast. All right, so after that quick trip through the history of animation, what's the one big idea you should really take away from all this? At the end of the day, here's the secret. All animation is a magic trick. It's an illusion, and it works by fooling our brains with a rapid-fire series of still images. That brilliant idea started with a simple toy, the flipbook, all the way back in 1868. And amazingly, that very same principle still powers everything from the simplest stick figure to the most epic blockbuster character you can imagine. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. The flipbook was the cutting-edge animation tech of its time. Today, we've got AI and virtual reality and things we can barely imagine. So, as technology keeps evolving at this breakneck pace, you have to wonder, what's going to be the flipbook of tomorrow?